Mike's Unleashed here. You got your man D Mega and Hawk coming at you.
Yo, what's up? What's up?
What's good? What's good, Hawk? Yo, Hawk, it's Sunday. Yo, let's rap. What you want to talk about today?
Yo, the Sunday topic of the day is it okay to ever lie? And if you do lie to the person, should they forgive you or not? What do you think? Is it okay to ever lie?
Lie. Lie. Is it okay to ever lie?
Ever lie?
I have to say yes. Yes. Some lies are good.
Okay.
Some lies are good. As strange as it may sound, some lies are actually told to keep those safe, to keep those actually from being hurt. So I have to say it's okay to lie, and you should be forgiven. Now,
okay.
you have to dive a little deeper into what is that lie about?
Okay.
Right? What are we lying about? What is it that you're not being truthful about? Because you figure if you tell them the truth, your spouse or your significant other may not completely understand or see things on the same level that you do.
Okay.
So at that point in time, I do think it is okay to tell a lie. But eventually, as they always say, all lies do come to fruition. The truth do come out in the end, one way or another. It
always does. It always does. But the question, and to answer, to kind of touch on what you're just saying, they say a lie compounds upon a lie, and then it becomes another lie, and it becomes another lie, and you just keep trying to cover the bases because you don't cover yourself because you don't want that lie to come out. Because,
yes,
once you lie once, it's going to end up being 10 times, tenfold. And then they'll potentially never believe you lied. So, I'm kind of with you. I think that telling, I guess, half the truth or maybe lying to your person or to somebody to protect them, as rough as it sounds, it could be acceptable. But, are you taking away their choice, right? If you lie to them. So say, for instance, you're in a no relationship is perfect, but you're in a good relationship, a pretty good relationship. Something happens, you lie to your person because it'll mess up that relationship and you don't want to taint the way that they view you, or you just don't want to hurt them. So you tell them, you never tell them, whether they say, keep the skeleton in the closet. It's really hard to say if that's okay, because at that point you've taken away their choice, right? You're allowing them to live something that's false, like in a fantasy world, maybe.
That is true. That is true. They're thinking of you in one light that is not necessarily the truth because you held that from them. But what is the lie about? I think there are limits to each lie that you tell.
Okay.
Right? If you're going around here lying, to your spouse or someone about, cheating, or you're talking about lying to, the government, who are you lying to? And we'll just keep it on the spouse. We'll just say, in relationship, what is the lie about? Is the lie that, hey, you're cheating? Is the lie that, hey, I'm not being forthcoming with all the money I make or the money I put to the side, how much money I'm giving you? Like, what is the, concrete level of the lie? Some lies are okay.
Okay.
Some lies, I think they're not as hurtful as what they're intended.
So what do they call? White lies, small lies?
Little white lies.
Little white lies. Little white lies.
I think little white lies are okay. But when you come straight out and you're in a relationship with someone and you have a side, that's a lot. Like, if you're lying to your spouse and you're lying to that person, neither one of them knows. No, I think those types of lies are just.
Well, you touched on something, so let's really talk. Let's really touch on that, right? Let's
talk about.
You talked about relationships. We talked about relationships, and we're talking about your spouse and relationships, and maybe infidelity, right? If you have a relationship with another woman, or the woman has a relationship with another man, they've gotten away with it. Nothing has ever come out. They can absolutely get away with it, right? Do they tell their spouse and come clean, or do they let that skeleton lie in the closet and just continue to let their spouse or their person be absolutely oblivious to what's going on? Is that okay? Right? Because, you really think about it. Would you prefer your person, or not you in general, but a person tell you, or a person just leave you, I guess, leave you in the dark, right? Is that what we prefer?
So I think, you would want to know, because like you said, you're taking away that person's power, their choice, right? If you tell them about it, if you're upfront with them about it, you are now giving them the choice. If you were the one who lied, so you were wrong. So allowing them and owning up to that lie, yes, it takes the power away from you. You may feel vulnerable now, and that may scare you. in the long run because you don't feel as if you have control of the situation anymore. But you did when you were telling the lie.
Okay.
You were able to focus on that. But once you relinquish that right by telling the truth, you're no longer in control. And that right there, and I think that's what scares most people. So that's why that one lie turns into another lie, turns into another lie. And like you said, it keeps compounding. But if you made a lie, if you made the mistake and you own up to it at the beginning, then you may earn that person's forgiveness. But
That's a
you
tough
have to
one.
give that person, that opportunity to forgive you.
At that point, you have to be willing to, I guess, give them all the control, because at that point, you are basically like the dartboard, and they're allowed to throw just darts at you 24/7, because you've at that point said, okay, look, I did wrong. Go ahead, throw these darts at me, ask you anything you want me, I'll tell you everything. Because at that point, you cannot just hold back or be in a position to where you can't tell them stuff that they want to know, because they're going to want to know more. Like if you
They're
just
going to want
came
to
to
know
them
more.
and said, hey, look, it was just on my mind. I just want to tell you. Like, listen, I really just didn't imagine that. You're standing in front of your person and you're like, yo, this is what happened. I just want you to know for the last 6 months, I've been smashing Sheila out there in West Philly for the last 6-7 months. You know what I mean? I just want you to know that. And I want us to start from a clean slate. Shit.
Ooh, that is a tough one. That
That's a
is a
tough
tough
one.
one because you're putting yourself, you're becoming vulnerable, right? You think you're doing the honorable thing, right, by coming clean and telling her, but your spouse now has that information and they can go in. And if you're in a good relationship or if you have a good spouse, maybe they could take that information and say, "Hey, you lied about it, but you actually came clean with me and I didn't have to find
Oof.
out." See, and that's what may happen, right? If you lie about it and they find out, that's what hurts more than just a lie. In my opinion, I think
I
about it
get
on
it.
that
I
level.
get it. I get exactly where you're coming from. I just think it's very difficult for people when they've gotten away with it, right? They've gotten away with it to just actually humble themselves and just say, "Hey, I did this. I just want you to know, babe. I just want you to know, honey, boo boo, whatever your name is. He calls you sugar baby, sugar smacks, whatever it is, that I've cheated on you." Like not many men or women are willing to just put that out there without it being discovered by by their person by themselves. Nobody really wants to offer that information, so they continue on
Nope.
not necessarily living that lie, right? Living that lie of whatever it may be, and not putting themselves on Front Street because of what will be brought up. Because realistically, nobody starts. It never starts over with a clean slate. Like even after you tell
Never.
them, it will never
Never.
ever be that clean chalkboard where, hey, let's start here, draw on this chalkboard. We're cool. It does not work like that. It does
They
not
may
work like that.
forgive, but they never forget.
That's
They'll never
exactly right.
forget.
They will never forget. So when we talk about lying, is it okay? It's kind of, I hate to say it because I know a ton of people are going to disagree with us, and we're kind of on the same page. I think it's a gray area, right?
It is a very
Um,
gray area, very a gray area. But like I said, when it comes to what the lie is, I think that's what the strength or what the basis is. If you're talking about infidelity, boom, lying. I don't think you could come out on the right side of
either way
infidelity,
you
right?
go, correct.
Either way you go, I don't think. I say if you're doing it, you're wrong. If you admit it, you're wrong. You lie about it, you're wrong. It's just like damned if I do, damned if I don't. With that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I do want to say there are times where it's okay to say other white lies and just say, you know what, it didn't hurt anything. And you may say, well, if it wasn't going to hurt anything, why not tell the truth? Because I believe we all know that you cannot be truthful 100% of the time
Woo,
with your
you
spouse.
stroke
You
a little
can't
boy. You're gonna
you can't
strike
do it.
some nerves there. You are gonna strike
I'm
some
gonna strike
nerves
some
there.
nerves, and I'll take those shots. I'll take the shots, but you cannot be truthful 100% of the time with your spouse.
And I
That's
believe you're living in reality when you say that, because that's not
that's
realistic. To tell everybody, to people who sit there and they say, "Oh, I tell them every single thing." Do you really? Do
lies.
you really?
That's a
I'm gonna
lie.
call.
That's
I'm gonna call bullshit on that. I don't think you do, because nobody. I shouldn't say nobody. Maybe there are those people out there that can be 100% with open omission about every single thing they've done in their life and every single thing they do from day to day. Those people will call those people unicorns.
Exactly.
But 90,
Exactly.
90, probably I would say 95, 99% of the people, I
Hmm.
don't think don't they walk this earth and not tell some kind of white lie. Or, people may say we're not even accurate there, but hold up. People need to remember that a lie can
Hmm.
almost also be by lack of omission, right? Like lack of telling, lack of openness, like you
Lack of
forgot to
information.
say it, lack of information. You just chose not to give all the information. That can be the equivalent of a lie also.
Absolutely. And is that fair? It all depends on the person that you're dealing with, right? Some people would say, well, the lack of information, well, it wasn't necessarily a lie, but you didn't tell the full truth.
Well,
So
that's a
therefore, you're
lie
going to
though.
get that, it's going to be on other sides. And I say that, it's either way that you want it to be, right? Whatever's going to work in your situation may it may not work in everyone's situation, but I think the person that you're talking to, when they have that meeting or have that discussion with you and they're asking you questions, if you're going to sit up here and lie about it, you just better be ready to sit up here and say, hey, I'm going to continue with this lie,
Okay.
or I'm going to sit up here and say, all right, let's stop right here. Let me tell you the truth. This is what went down, and face the consequences.
Okay.
Lack of omission, lack of all the facts is in turn, in my eyes, I don't consider that a lie. I
Okay.
think it's just a lack of information.
All
You
right.
may not have it all.
So let's
I
flip it
don't
a
see it
little
as a lie.
bit. The second part of the question was about forgiveness. So we've come to kind of, I think, kind of an agreement that in life people do tell white lies, right? They leave gray areas.
Absolutely.
They don't divulge all the information all the time, which could or could not be
Nope.
seen as a lie. And right, some people just lie and take it to their graves, and some people are truthful, right? So we kind of say, okay, lying is a gray area, right? But
It's
let's
a
talk
gray.
about,
It's a gray area.
yeah, it is. Let's talk about forgiveness, right? So with
Mm.
forgiveness, should the person forgive them? And on what level is it really forgiveness, right? Is a person saying, oh, I forgive you, but they throw it in your face all the time? Is that okay?
Then they really didn't forgive you. I,
Mm,
I consider that they really didn't forgive you. If they tell you that they forgive you and they hold it over your head every chance they get, or every time you do something that's remotely similar to whatever that lie was, and they throw it in your face, they didn't really forgive you.
okay.
They're just holding that on as a piece of information or just something to continuously jab at you. If
Okay.
you forgive me, you would allow me to sit up here and make my amends with you and we move forward. Not saying that it doesn't ever have to be brought up again, because hey, if I was wrong
Okay.
and you caught me out on it, you want to bring it up, few years down the road, that's fine. But in every argument that or discussion or disagreement that we get
Okay.
in after that and you bring it up, you never really forgave me, right?
Okay.
I don't feel as if you ever did, because why is that your go-to, your go-to response, right? You're just hitting below the belt because I was vulnerable and I gave you the truth. I'm asking for your forgiveness. You say you forgave me,
Okay.
but you always throwing it in my face. So did
That
you
makes sense.
honestly, truthfully forgive me?
So I look at it like that, and I agree with you a lot in what you said. But I think also, forgiving doesn't necessarily mean forgetting, right? People forgive, but they don't forget. That's realistic. Nobody forgets unless you have Alzheimer's or some kind of disease where you just start forgetting stuff. But people carry, heartache and disappointment for years and years and
Pain.
years, and pain, right? Yeah, you said it right there.
Yeah,
Pain.
absolutely.
They carry it forever. So, when I look at it, I agree with everything you said, but I also try to be mindful that people heal. The time it takes for people to heal is different. And from a man's
Hmm.
perspective, we can get over something in like, 3 weeks. From a woman's perspective, it could be 4 months, right? Because,
Yeah,
a lot of
true,
times
true.
women, and I'm going to be very real, women love a lot deeper than men do. Um, and that's just the nature of it. Not saying men don't, we don't love, but it can be different. And
There's
so
different levels
there's
to it.
different
Yeah.
levels. And so when they forgive, or when people forgive, you're right. They shouldn't throw it in your face 24/7. They shouldn't jab you, because you're allowing yourself to have a target on your back doesn't mean they have to shoot you every single time. Right.
Right. Right.
Sometimes, the man or the person realizes they did wrong. They don't need to jab you with it every time, because it's the same way you're hurt. you're potentially hurting them every time you bring it up, and they have to relive it again and
Relive
again
it
and again.
constantly, constantly, constantly. Yeah.
Exactly. So you're right. Like forgiveness is forgiving, right? That means to me, I'm
Yep.
with you. You can't just throw it in that person's face all the time. Maybe you bring it up sometime, but not just all the time and jab them and jab them and jab them. Because if you really want to, I believe if you really want to move on, you have to
Right.
really just like, even when you want to bring it up, you got to swallow that shit. You don't need to talk about it.
Sometimes you gotta just hold it.
Hold it in.
Sometimes you gotta hold it. Not saying every time I feel, but sometimes you got to hold it because it's not. And I'm gonna say I don't think it's appropriate for every time for it to be discussed. If you forgave me, then let's just move on.
Well, they say
I'm
there's
gonna
timing
try and
is for
not make that
everything,
mistake again.
right? There's a time for
Right.
everything, and every minute it's on your mind is not the right time to bring it up because
Nope.
they're healing just like that you're trying to heal.
That's
So
facts.
so it,
That's facts.
it's
I,
a
I think we're in agreements with it, but I just see, I would love to hear what some people say in the comments. They may not really agree with us because they may have actually been hurt in other kind of ways that they just saying, yes, you can never forgive because it all depends on the situation. But like I said, I want to say and look at this, not just adultery, not just cheating, but just overall lies. Our lies
lies.
really are lives terrible all the way around? I mean,
Correct.
that's a question. And if you say they aren't, can you really be truly forgiven, or can you just live with telling little white lies and move on with your life as long as nothing's broke?
Makes sense. So yeah, we look forward to hearing the feedback from this. Let us know your thoughts, like Mega was just saying. Let us know your thoughts. Throw your feedback at us, because we're definitely interested in hearing what individuals out there have been through, and if they, like you said, if you can live with white lies, or if white lies, small lies, big lies, whatever it may be, if you can actually live with it and rather not know. So yeah, this is Mike's Unleashed. This is all we have. We just wanted to throw this out there. That Sunday topic, yo. We appreciate y'all. As always, subscribe. Follow us because we can't do this without you.
Yo, we appreciate it. Hey, this is D Mega and the Hawk. Mike's Unleashed. Turn the mics up. We out.
Peace.
Peace.